Egypt was the world's first major superpower, the land of the pharaohs. Interestingly, Prophet Muhammad's peace be upon him clearly foretold before his passing that Muslims would one day conquer Egypt. He advised, "When you conquer Egypt, treat its people kindly, for they are your relatives." Shortly after the Prophet's death, under the leadership of Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, Muslims defeated the Roman and Persian empires and conquered these vast territories. However, as soon as these lands were conquered, a serious problem emerged. A dangerous disease spread rapidly throughout these new territories, not only slowing down the Muslims' momentum, but also claiming the lives of their top generals. This created an opportunity for new generals to step forward and lead. Due to these losses, Hazrat Umar appointed new generals in these regions. He made Amr bin Al-Aas, may Allah be pleased with him, the army chief. Gradually, under Amr bin Al-Aas's leadership, the disease subsided. When Hazrat Umar learned about the situation in Medina, he personally traveled toward the Muslim army to control the situation. Before leaving, he entrusted control of Medina and the entire Arabian Peninsula to Hazrat Ali. May Allah be pleased with him. Naturally, if something happened to Hazrat Umar during this journey, Hazrat Ali would automatically become the next caliph of this vast empire. Frafe the strategic decision to conquer Egypt. Upon reaching Syria, Hazrat Umar met the new army chief, Amr bin Al-Aas, who presented a powerful new plan. Instead of pausing, they should move toward a new world, Egypt. But why Egypt specifically, when Muslims could also march toward the Roman capital? Egypt was no ordinary territory. For thousands of years, it had been among the wealthiest regions on earth, a power repeatedly acknowledged in the Quran. But what made Egypt so powerful? 5,000 years ago, the world's most important resource was water. Whoever controlled the most water ruled the world. And since ancient times, the world's greatest river, the Nile, flowed through Egypt. Gradually, people from all over the world migrated to Egypt because of the Nile's water power. This made Egypt the most powerful region, and its people became the wealthiest in the world. Among these people rose King Narmer, who united all of Egypt and established the world's first empire. The oldest known Egyptian writings, preserved on 2 tablets, clearly depict King Narmer. This Egyptian empire grew stronger over time and continued to rule the world for the next 1,000 years. After a millennium of being the world's superpower, the Egyptian pharaohs became convinced that no one in the entire universe was greater than them. For the first time, a pharaoh made an unprecedented claim. He declared himself not just a king but a god. These pharaohs created a religion in Egypt, where the pharaoh was considered a god on earth. And the common people could only attain heaven if they remained slaves to their god, Pharaoh. This ensured that the people would never rebel against them. Soon, the entire population of Egypt began worshipping the pharaohs. Over time, changes occurred in the pharaoh's religion. A peculiar concept emerged. Not every pharaoh was a god. Only that pharaoh would remain divine, whose body remained perfectly preserved after death until the end of time. This sparked a competition among pharaohs to preserve their bodies eternally. They began experimenting with their corpses, giving birth to the concept of mummification. When a pharaoh died, the surgeons of that era would first drain all blood from the body. Then, They would insert a hook through the nose to pull out the brain. All organs, lungs, liver, kidneys, were removed, except for the heart, which was carefully preserved in a jar. The empty body was then placed in water, mixed with special salt for 40 days. Afterward, the body was filled with sand to maintain its shape permanently. Finally, oil and honey were applied, and white bandages were wrapped around the body forever. The mummy was sealed in an expensive coffin, along with food, drink, gold, and most importantly, the heart. Gradually, every pharaoh began having their mummy made. This race to become a god after death went beyond mummification. New pharaohs not only created mummies, but also constructed massive buildings over them. Initially, these were ordinary buildings and temples, but they grew larger over time, leading to the concept of pyramids. Each pharaoh wanted their pyramid to be bigger than the previous ones. These pyramids became so enormous that Pharaoh Khufu's pyramid held the title of the world's largest building. After 500 years, this record was broken by a church in London, though that church didn't stand for long. After its collapse, the pyramid once again became the world's largest building. Today, the Burj Khalifa is the tallest building in the world. However, in terms of weight, if you combine 12 Burj Khalifas, they still wouldn't match the weight of a single pyramid. The structure is so massive that 2,000 large trucks could easily park inside it. While all pharaohs built these pyramids, they failed to realize the enormous cost involved. This is why the Great Pyramid remains the largest. Subsequent pyramids gradually decreased in size. Not only the pyramids, but Egypt's entire economy began weakening because of them. For the first time in thousands of years, it seemed Egypt would lose its superpower status. Just as Egypt's economy severely declined, a young boy was being sold as a slave in the Egyptian market. However, this child was extraordinarily beautiful. Unlike any other, he was adopted by a powerful Egyptian minister. This former slave child was none other than Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, who later became the Prime Minister of Egypt. Together with the king, Yusuf managed the entire Egyptian economy, restoring the superpower status to a nation on the brink of collapse. After Prophet Yusuf's death, his descendants, the Israelites, continued living in Egypt and soon became the most powerful people in the land. However, just as they reached their peak, a major war erupted between two powerful factions in Egypt. A new pharaoh emerged, destroyed the old dynasty, and established a new kingdom. He broke all previous rules and implemented a new system. The most important rule was that outsiders would no longer be tolerated in Egypt. The Israelites faced severe oppression in Egypt. All their businesses were shut down, and they were enslaved. For the next 400 years, the Israelites remained slaves to the Egyptians. Throughout these centuries, the Israelites held on to one hope: that a prophet would come and free them from this harsh slavery. That hope finally came true. An astrologer came to the pharaoh and predicted that soon a child would be born among the Israelites who would destroy the pharaoh's 3,000-year-old empire. Disturbed by this news, Pharaoh ordered that every newborn Israelite boy be killed immediately. Soldiers went door to door, snatching babies from their mothers. However, the very child they were searching for, Musa, peace be upon him, escaped their grasp. Ironically, Pharaoh himself ended up raising this child in his own home. After becoming a prophet, Musa demanded that Pharaoh free the Israelites from slavery. Following numerous miracles, Pharaoh finally agreed and allowed the Israelites to leave Egypt. That night, 600,000 Israelites departed Egypt after 400 years, heading toward Palestine. But Pharaoh broke his promise and commanded his entire army to pursue them. Just as he approached the Israelites, Allah saved Musa and his people, drowning Pharaoh Ramses II and his entire army in the sea. Here's an interesting puzzle. Prophet Musa is not mentioned anywhere in Egyptian historical tablets or writings. His story only appears in the Bible and the Quran. However, historians and religious scriptures agree on one thing. After Ramses II, Egypt never truly recovered. Musa didn't just defeat one pharaoh, he marked the beginning of the end of 3,000 years of Egyptian rule. Ramses II was Egypt's last great pharaoh, whose arrogance destroyed him and his army. The world then understood that Pharaoh was not a god, but just an ordinary human. Egypt began losing its superpower status, entering what is still remembered as the Dark Ages. Shortly after this period, a new world power emerged in Palestine, Prophet Sulaiman's peace be upon him. Over time, Egypt's power continued to weaken until various empires conquered it, including Alexander the Great. Finally, the great Roman Empire conquered Egypt with full force and ruled for the next 600 years. No one could take Egypt from them. After 600 years, the time had come for the prophet's hadith to be fulfilled. Under the caliphate of Umar ibn Khattab, Muslims stood at Egypt's doorstep, ready to take it from the Roman Empire. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this historical journey through Egypt's incredible past. I truly appreciate your attention and hope this exploration of ancient civilizations, prophetic traditions, and historical events has been both educational and inspiring. Your interest in learning about our shared human heritage means a great deal. May we continue to seek knowledge and understanding together.